All right, guys, welcome to part 2 of our video series Demystifying GEO AEO. In this video, if you haven't watched the previous one, it will be linked in the description box below and likely on YouTube there. But for this part 2, we're going to analyze the playing field. From the previous part, we do know that fundamentally AI-powered search that produces answers that will mention brands like yours, therefore make you money, are split into two camps. One, conversational AI engines, aka chatbots, and two, traditional search engines, starting, of course, by Google, all the way down. So in this chart here, I have the stats of the market share across these players. Why? It's important to focus where the money is. And the money is, of course, in ChatGPT and Google. But how big is the difference? And is there really no money here? Let's see for just how much. 81.84 of the market share right now goes to ChatGPT. Now, this is worldwide statistics. What happens if I go to the US, right? Because here I'm using United States, here I'm using worldwide. Why? Because the numbers are the numbers are actually more representative of the real picture. In the US, ChatGPT loses 3 points exactly. And it goes all the way down to 78.84. USA. And then Copilot gains a bunch of points, this guy loses a point, whatever, the rank stays the same, but Copilot has higher usage by about 7 points. A few that this one loses, a few that this one loses, and then everything else coming from the other players. Why? Most likely because corporate America is heavier on Windows usage and they want their staff to operate within their environments so that there's no leaks of data that shouldn't be leaked. Good, we've been there before. How much market share does Google have? 85.07% of the market share on the search engines goes to Google. So it should be, now for any of you guys who likes math, I think it should be very, very clear that this is where our attention should go. Now, everyone has been losing their minds about ranking in ChatGPT because it's the new thing, because it's the fastest growing thing. I understand all of that. Plus, there's a lot of stories, a lot of players that are involved that serve their own agendas. Do watch part 1. It will cover a lot of the ground here, so you remain sane while you do marketing, because marketing in this decade is pretty weird. So let us see now what's the difference between these two fields, because they are not played 50-50. It's not like half of the game is here and half of the game is here. No, not like that at all. Now, the numbers that I shared before in terms of the percentage of the market share are from November of 25. I'm recording this video on the 4th of December. The numbers that I have for the total user base, according to SimilarWeb, are from 1 month before. Now, ChatGPT has a crazy high number of users with 6.165 billion monthly visits. That's a staggering amount for how young the platform is. And obviously, you can tell that there's money to be made out of 6 billion monthly visits worldwide for all types of queries. Hold on, we have to break this down. Before we do that, what's the number for Google? Take a guess in your mind and see if you got it right. The number starts with an 8, and then a 5, and then a 3, and then a 2. Not that much of a difference, but the comma is there. 85 billion visits, 85 billion visits per month. So Google has a larger volume of visits by a factor of 13.83x. Over 10 times larger the user base monthly from ChatGPT. And you already know how much money you can make from Google because you've been doing SEO for a while, and if you haven't, that should be your first stop to do GEO, but we're gonna enter into that later. So, good, now we know the difference, right? Now we know, okay, this game, the game of searching stuff on Google, is played 14 times more than the game of searching for stuff in ChatGPT. Yes, the nature of the queries that are done in either platform is also a little bit different. In general, the nature of a query falls within a limited range. It can only be transactional, commercial, informational, etc. Right? How many of those happen here? How many of those happen here? And then what's the conversion rate on either platform? Because if this platform converts 13.83 times better than this one, then same but different, right? the end result will be the same. So that's a very big question to solve. Does ChatGPT really convert this much better than Google, which is one of the stories that I'm sure you've heard online? So now for the query types, which is going to be a very big part of how users interact in different ways, both in ChatGPT as well as on Google, because not also all Google results will populate an AI overview. A lot of the queries will simply be a query influenced by good old-fashioned traditional SEO. So we do know that for informational queries, that's what ChatGPT is actually used for the most. We also know that in informational queries, we have the highest chances that Google will give us an AI overview. Typically, an AI overview that gives a full answer, in the sense of what I said earlier, it rewrites the story, it collects a bunch of information from different sources, it tells you a full answer, it puts tiny little links that some people, very, very few people, click on, and even fewer people, once they see the source on the right-hand side, people even click on the actual result. This is why the moment that AI overviews started populating informational queries, everyone reported a big drop both in impressions and in clicks. Next are commercial queries and transactional queries. This is what matters the most to us. These are the queries that make money for businesses. If someone is looking for, hey, what brand of water bottles should I buy if I go to the gym this many times, and right? Hey, if someone is looking for a water bottle, in ChatGPT, people typically are very extensive in the research. They get very detailed about what they want to have, and ChatGPT will give an answer that sometimes will have more or less quotes of brand names and places where you can click and see why that brand name is being incorporated. That typically is not the brand name, but a listicle. This is why everyone is going crazy about listicles in ChatGPT. But let's put things into context. How well do these type of queries convert versus queries here? That's what I'm going to answer in the next segment. The behavior in B2B and B2C scenarios will also be different. There is unfortunately a lack of reliable data for this. There is very, very good, proper scientific, university-backed research on this exact answer. So this is why I will answer this later. I need to cover the full spectrum here. We do know, of course, that some people will be Googling for water bottles, either what's the best water bottle for my particular situation, or buy XYZ type of water bottle, and it depends on which retailer is selling it, right? Which is much closer to a transactional query. Then we do know that transactional queries, hey, I want to buy a ticket for the next concert of XYZ band. People won't do that here because they can't get the transactional functionality just yet. People will go to Google to find straight the whatever Ticketmaster, whatever website it is, where they can actually go and buy those tickets. So we do know that for transactional queries, ChatGPT is not going to be an answer. Yes, now they're introducing new features such as shopping directly within ChatGPT to try to capitalize on this. But for now, big question mark. We do know that Google is going to make the money there. We do know that AI overviews are sometimes populated on these two types of queries, although they rarely appear here. This is mostly an X when it comes to AI overviews, but this is a yes when it comes to good old-fashioned SEO. Okay, so if you target by X type of queries with your website, congrats, through SEO, you will continue to make a lot of money. And then we have local queries. For local, ChatGPT most of the time has no idea because it's not in the training data. Most local businesses won't be linked in tier 1 or tier 2 websites. If this is new to you, go watch my previous video. But we do know that Google, of course, is not going to give an AI overview answer. Sometimes, very rare, but most of the times what it's going to give you is a map pack. 3 results, bunch of websites there, and then some organic results and some PPC at the top. What ChatGPT will give you if you make one such query on ChatGPT, it's going to be a tier 3 based answer. So it's going to actually it's going to produce a search. It's going to search in up to 20 different search engines, including Google, which has the highest weight on the responses. So basically, to rank in ChatGPT, you have to rank in Google for local businesses. I'm oversimplifying, but you start to get the picture, right? And then you will get an answer that you cannot really interact fully there. So and then we have branded queries, and this is the one that everyone is sleeping on. This is where the money is made in ChatGPT. Believe it or not. Why? A lot of people will find your brand through any of the very many channels that you are already doing traditional marketing on. And they will go to ChatGPT and they will ask, is XYZ brand legit? What are some alternatives to XYZ? And depending on the story that ChatGPT has bought about your brand and your competitors, then that will influence what ChatGPT says. And unfortunately, because people are deferring to ChatGPT as it was the modern day Oracle of Delphos, then what ChatGPT says will actually have a very, very high degree of influence into the decision of those users. For branded queries, when people already know who you are and that you exist and what you do, which you don't get by doing GEO, you get by just being a good brand. Okay, important. However, on traditional Google results, only 13.1% of the time you will have an AI overview that will do a similar type of storytelling type of answer about your brand for the user. Most of the time, it will be simply your site that ranks at the top, and people can go to your website and make those decisions for themselves, which in many cases will make them want to defer back to some sort of aggregator answer, truth-giving platform such as ChatGPT. Very important. Last, we have navigational queries, which of course cannot be done in ChatGPT. Okay, they will be performed in Google, whatever website login page. People go to the search bar and type that, and then Google offers the answer, but they're already looking for a specific page to already do an action. There's no point on searching for that on ChatGPT. So what does this give us? There's basically two ways to make money out of ChatGPT. One is ranking as the de facto preferred brand for commercial B2B and B2C type of queries on ChatGPT. So when people are asking for recommendations, they will show you very big question mark on how to get that done and how well that converts. That's what we will cover in following videos. Or by making sure that when people ask about your brand, ChatGPT tells them a very, very compelling story. And if people are doing queries within ChatGPT related to your industry, like, hey, I'm looking for a good link building company that does bespoke link building for medium-sized businesses and collaborates with CMOs one-to-one. Who should I use? Go search that for ChatGPT. It might recommend us. I don't know. That's a good query for you to make, right? And there is where the money is. Right? When people basically describe what your business does, then you want to be there recommended. But that, out of all the, let's remember, 6.16 billion visits ChatGPT gets, this is close to 0.1% for your industry. There's virtually nobody. However, the somebodies who is making this query is this far away from converting, and they will not convert as much when they search for you on Google. So this is the part that matters the most. Now let's explore what influences this other part here with some data. Now in part 3, I will go through a research paper, 61-page long research paper from two gentlemen, Maximilian Kaiser and Christian Schulze, that made a proper research on this exact subject. I will give you the data, I will give you the facts so that you're equipped to know where to put your marketing money. I'll see you in the next part. Cheers, bye-bye.